the way I look, so I'm going to put my what you call them on so y'all can't see me, okay?
But I love to see everyone.
So cute.
Yeah, I look a holy mess right now. I'm just getting up.
You look
Hey, at least you can sleep in.
So how's everybody else been?
Not bad, not bad.
Good.
Give me a moment. I got to get to my computer, but I didn't want to miss anything, so I logged in on my phone. So when I get to my bedroom, I'm going to get off of here and get on from my laptop, whatever that thing is called.
Sounds like a plan. I thought it would be a smart idea to put some body dew on while I'm at my laptop, and now I have it all on my keyboard. I may need permission, ma'am. I can't share my screen without permission.
Hold on, working on that. Let's see. Come on, settings, come out. Let's see. Okay. Click on Janelle, and do more. So can you do it as co-host?
Let's see. Host disabled participant screen sharing. No, ma'am.
You said no? Okay, hold on.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yay. Awesome sauce.
Okay, go in and make me co-host, okay? Just in case. I don't know.
Let's see.
Just click on my name and hit more when it comes the option. Well, it should be an option to unmute, to mute, and then more. And then it has like a drop down.
I did it.
Okay.
And it has it recorded.
Yep. I'm gonna leave this device open to make sure it's recording. But I'm gonna mute and take my camera off, and I'm gonna be on another device. Okay.
Okay. And you know what? I do not. That's the one thing I did not do. Okay. I will.
What's your name?
All right. Oh no, I had that picture you sent me. It's still in our chat. I saved it on my phone like a smart person, but I did not save it on.
You're able to pull up the messenger right up there, right? And just pull it up.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because
yes.
you had a.
Yes,
I like the diagram you had too. That was nice.
That would suffice.
Yep. So you could use both of those interchangeably. You know, when you get to that point, you could look at it and just tell them they might do better looking at the diagram than just looking at the words.
All right. I think I'm gonna give folks about 5 more minutes, and then we're gonna go ahead and start.
I would go ahead and start. Not gonna get
go ahead. Okay. Well.
yeah.
All right. Hi, ladies. My name is Janelle Deniece. I am going to be your tour guide in promoting the sexual health this semester. So I am going to read over it. I hope that you ladies go ahead and take notes. Chime in if you have any questions. We are all learning this together. I did take this course before a while back, but this is also a great refresher for myself. So I'm gonna read over it. Let me know if I'm going too fast. I've had coffee and other caffeine, so I may start speaking really, really fast. So this is unit 3. You guys should have started unit 1 and 2 last week with Miss Carol. This unit is called Sexual and Reproductive Anatomy and Physiology. So let's start. Our sexuality is experienced on many dimensions. Probably one of the most obvious is the physical dimension. It is through our bodies that we experience sensuality, physical stimulation, and contact with others. There are also somewhat predictable physiological responses associated with sexual arousal, including blood flowing to the genitals, vaginal lubrication, and erectile response. Our bodies have the capacity for fertility and to potentially create new life. For females, this capacity extends to the potential for pregnancy, gestation, and birth. Understanding the parts and functions of the sexual and reproductive system is essential in promoting sexual health for yourself and others. So we're going to be talking about the vulva, and I always encourage you guys to, if you're taking notes, to kind of take these notes as like definitions and things of that nature, so that way you can just remember for yourself when we take our quiz. So the vulva, probably the most common mistake people make about the female anatomy has to do with the external genitals. Many people mistakenly refer to the external genitalia of the female as the vagina. Though commonly used, this is actually incorrect. The external genitals for a female are collectively called the vulva. Hey, Joy. The word vulva refers to several parts of the woman's genitals, including her clitoris, vaginal opening, labia majora, the outer vaginal lips, and labia minora, the inner vaginal lips. So I printed out, or not printed, excuse me. Here is a picture. Let me know if you guys can see this screen sharing of the woman's genitalia. Thumbs up.
I see it.
Awesome. So once again, this is the woman, and if we are basing it off of what they're explaining to us, so the outer vaginal lips, I don't think this is a really good picture, is it? Outer vaginal lips, right? And then we have the inner vaginal lips, the labia minora. So I guess it will be about this area. I think that right now it's just opened up, so you can't really see a very good picture. So I'm going to find a different diagram. Okay. So this one might be a little bit better. So outside, here's your inner, the clitoris. There you go. So there is no one standard of vulva. They all look different from each other. The vagina, also known as the birth canal, is an internal organ, a muscular canal of sorts. Externally only the vaginal opening is visible. The vagina itself is not. This is tremendous variation in how vulvas look. Vulvas vary in several ways, including the size, the shape of the labia, glans, clitoris, and clitoral hood. The color of the various vulva parts, the distance between components of the vulva, and the texture. Amount and placement of pubic hair. Author, educator, and activist Betty Dodson has for years been demonstrating through her work the diversity of vulvas. In her book, Sex for One, 1987, there are vulva drawings that speak to the variation from woman to woman. The vulvas below from an art project we worked on with artist Erin Toby, featuring a diverse group of vulvas, varying in terms, labia size and shape, clitoral size and shape, pubic hair, and so on. So all the different vulvas. You guys want to go ahead and keep going through. Many women have rarely seen other vulvas and may not have even ever looked closely at their own. Many sexual health promotion professionals encourage women to look at their own genitals, perhaps using a mirror for ease of viewing, so that they can become familiar with and comfortable with what is normal for them. After all, there is no standard vulva. A woman's attitude towards her genitals is likely to reflect her general self-concept and early childhood messages rather than the actual appearance of her vulva. Letting women know that vulva parts come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, especially the labia minora, which may be quite small or quite large and usually not symmetrical, can help women to feel more comfortable with their own bodies. When a woman feels more accepting of her body, including the way her genitals look, she may feel more relaxed during sex. Some research was found who have a positive genital self-image find it easier to orgasm, are more likely to masturbate or use a vibrator, and are more likely to engage in sexual health promoting behaviors such as genital self-examination and annual gynecological tongue-tied gyno exams. We feel it's important to note that although most people with vulvas identify as women, not all do. Some people with vulvas identify as men, maybe transgender men, and other may identify as agender, not having a gender or not identifying within the gender binary, or as a gender non-binary. Also, some transgender women may have a vulva and vagina created through gender-affirming surgeries. Individuals who have had a vulva and vagina surgical created may find it helpful to use extra lubricant for vulva, vagina sex play. They may also find it helpful or medically necessary depending on their physician recommendation to use vagina dilators or dildos to help keep the vagina open and flexible. Most postmenopausal women also find it helpful to continue to have vaginal penetration either with or with a partner who has a penis or through using dildos or insertable vibrators. If you aren't sure about a client's desire or needs, you can ask them. No one can be an expert in everything. And once again, it's okay to say, I don't know, to questions that you are not equipped to answer. It is also a pretty terrific opportunity to learn from those around us, to reading fascinating accounts of trans individuals connecting with evolving bodies. You might enjoy reading the book Queer Sex by Juna Roche. Any questions? Did I go too fast? Nothing?
No questions. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Parts of the vulva. So what I'm going to do is I sent Miss Carol's. Okay. So can you guys see this picture? So I'm going to refer back to this picture because I think this is a great picture of the female reproductive system. And then there was another picture that I sent her of. All right. So here you go. So I feel like this is a better image than the one that we were looking at. So we have, you see where the outer lips, the labia, inner lips.
I can't see it.
Oh, you can't see it? What about now?
No, it's still the promoting sexual health site.
Really? Okay, because I think I have it just shared on that one. Let's see. How about we just do our whole screen? All right.
Okay, now I can see it.
Yay. All right. So, got our outer, our inner, the vaginal, opening for the bladder, and the clitoris. I think this was a better image than the other one, in my opinion.
Yep.
All right. So, the vulva includes the following parts. Mons pubis. And if you are taking notes, let me know if I'm going too fast when I'm reading through it. This is the most visible part of the vulva. It is a triangular raised layer of fatty tissue located over the pubic bone, above the labia and clitoris. Its natural state is often covered in pubic hair after puberty. Some people trim or remove some or all of the pubic hair on the mons. Others let it go completely natural. In the postmenopausal period, hair on the mons starts to thin out considerably. In the labia majora, this term means major lips. People also sometimes refer to the labia majora as outer lips. Since they are not always bigger than the labia minora, they are the folds of skin and tissue that extend along the side of the vulva from the mons pubis down to the perineum. Okay, the labia majora protect the more delicate organs underneath them and may be sensitive to touch. Unless a person chooses to remove their pubic hair, the outside parts of the labia majora are typically covered in pubic hair for puberty. Labia minora, the term means minor lips, but are often called inner lips. The labia minora are located just inside the labia majora. They may be bigger or smaller than the labia majora. They may look smooth or gathered, wrinkly, and may be quite sensitive to touch. Unlike the labia majora, the labia minora do not have any pubic hair on them. As with many body parts, the size, shape, and color of the labia minora vary greatly from person to person. Then we have our clitoris. Let's see if I can move this down. The clitoris is a highly nerve-rich and thus sensitive part of the vulva. The clitoris functions only as a source of potential pleasure. It is located in the folds of the vulva where the top of the labia meets. Externally, the clitoral hood and the clitoral glands are visible. The hood covers the glands. Inside the body is the clitoral shaft, which extends from glands to the pubic bone, and the clitoral crura, which are two branches of the clitoris. The crura extend about 3 inches on either side of the vagina. During sexual arousal, the gland shaft and crura become engorged, filled up with blood, and expand. Because a woman's clitoris expands in this way during sexual arousal, it's currently thought that the clitoris is involved in most, if not all, experience of female orgasms. Whether or not the woman's clitoris is directly stimulated during sexual activity, in 2017, a study published in a Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy, we found that 2/3 of the women like direct stimulation of the clitoris, but many other women prefer to be touched near the clitoris, but not directly on it. We also found that 5% of the women in our study prefer to avoid direct clitoral stimulation entirely. Hey ladies that just jumped on, have not missed much. Welcome to the party. So here it is showing you again, that is the hood, that is the clitoris gland, and the rest of the clitoris will be, or the crura will be on the sides. So here's our vaginal opening. This is an entrance way to the vaginal canal. This area is typically sensitive to touch, pressure, and sensation, located at the bottom end of the folds of the labia. The opening is covered by the hymen during childhood. The hymen may be torn or punctured through normal exercise, tampon use, masturbation, or other common activities that occur during childhood. Although it may look small, the vaginal opening has tremendous capacity for expansion, such as during intercourse or more dramatically during the process of vaginal childbirth. The urethral opening. This is the opening for evacuation of urine from the body. It is located between the clitoris and the vaginal opening. The urethra is a tube that extends from the bladder to the urethral opening. Some healthcare providers suggest that wiping during urination should be front of the body towards the back to avoid getting bacteria near the urethral opening, thus decreasing the risk for potential urinary tract infections, UTI. If someone is very prone to UTIs, they may also find it helpful to urinate after intercourse. Empty her bladder completely when urinating. Avoid using scented hygiene products, such as scented bath products. Taking showers rather than baths. Drink plenty of water. And avoid tight-fitting synthetic underwear. The perineum. The perineum is located between the vaginal opening and the anus, just below where the labia major meet at the bottom. It is highly saturated with nerve endings and so is very sensitive in preparation for vaginal childbirth. The perineum is often massaged to make it more flexible and minimizing tearing. And sorry, I lost my place. In episiotomy, somebody can enunciate that word for me. Episiotomy, I'm sorry, ladies. Is a surgical procedure that cuts the perineum to allow for passage of the baby's head and shoulders. Thank you. I was struggling. Episiotomy is sometimes medically recommended. Other times, healthcare providers suggest that natural tears may heal more easily than episiotomy cuts. Women who have questions or concerns about planning for childbirth should be directed to their gynecologist or other healthcare providers. Anus. This is an opening into the rectum. The anal opening is a highly sensitive area and may be sexually responsive to manual hand or finger stimulation and or penetration. Does anybody need to see, they came in a little bit late to see the top half? No? Okay. You guys, I don't know if you're sending me a message in the chat or anything. Okay, no. Katrina, you need to see the top couple words. Here, let me go back. So we got the mons pubis, the labia majora, the labia minora, the clitoris, our vaginal opening, urethral opening. And if you need me to slow down, please go ahead and unmute and let me know. Because if not, I'm just gonna keep going.
Nope, you're doing fine. I've already read the unit anyway, so.
Gotcha. Okay. She said I'm on it. So the female internal sexual and reproductive parts. We're on part 3 of unit 3. The internal female sexual and reproductive parts include the vagina, the flexible muscular canal that is approximately 3 to 4 inches long. When one is not aroused, it extends from the vaginal opening at the vulva to the cervix. During the sexual arousal, the vaginal walls secrete a clear, slick fluid. I don't know why I was gonna say liquid. That's nothing to do with that. Along its length. The lower 1/3 of the vagina closest to the opening is often more sensitive to sensation. The vagina has great capacity to stretch, as is the case during vaginal intercourse and much more so during vaginal childbirth. The G-spot, or the Gafferberg spot, remains a controversial topic in sexuality research. Some sexual health experts describe the area as being located about 1 to 2 inches inside the vagina on the other side of the frontal vaginal wall. Because it's not something that one can directly see or touch, some suggest gently but firmly stimulating this area with one's finger, a sex toy, or a partner's penis to see how it feels. Some women find it highly stimulating when pressure is applied to the G-spot. Also, some women have the capacity to have an ejaculatory response in which clear fluid is ejaculated during sexual arousal or orgasm. Often in connection with G-spot stimulation, relatively little is known about why some people experience this capacity while others apparently do not. So, cervix is located at the end of the vagina and it connects it to the uterus. The OS is the opening in the cervix, which is normally the diameter of a pencil lead. It dilates a small amount during menstruation and to as much as 10 centimeters in diameter for childbirth. Cervical cancer screening is conducted using regular Pap tests. As of this writing, current U.S. guidelines recommend Pap tests every 3 years for women aged 21 to 29, and every 5 years for women aged 30 to 65, along with an HPV test. There are also several HPV vaccines available, and they have been approved for both women and men. People who are interested in learning whether they should have a Pap test or get an HPV vaccine should ask their healthcare provider. Although the HPV vaccine reduce the risk of developing cervical problems, including cervical cancer, they do not completely prevent cervical problems or cancer. Thus, even women who have received the HPV vaccine should continue to follow their healthcare provider recommendations with regards to a gyno exam, Pap tests, and personal healthcare. And I'll let you guys read this part on your own time as far as prevention of inflammation of the bladder. Our uterus, also called the womb. The uterus is where a fertilized egg would implant to initiate the process of pregnancy. The uterus is muscular and flexible. Normally, the uterus is the size and shape of a small pear. During pregnancy, it expands to accommodate a growing fetus or even multiples. The lining, called the endometrium, thickens with extra layers of blood and tissue to nourish the fertilized eggs. If fertilization doesn't occur, the extra lining is shed as the menstrual fluid. Endometriosis is a serious health condition where endometrial cells grow outside the uterus and can cause discomfort or pain. are fallopian tubes. These run from the top of the uterus to the ovaries. They are about 4 inches long in the diameter of needle at the connection point with the uterus. They expand the width of cooked spaghetti for most of the length and widen at the opening near the ovaries. This end contains tendrils or fingers called the fimbria that float next to and drape over the ovaries. Rather than connect to them, the fimbria direct the ovum or egg into fallopian tube upon release from the ovary. When fertilization occurs, it usually takes place in the fallopian tubes. Excuse me. Our ovaries are the female gonads or sex organs that produce reproductive cells. About 400,000 immature ova or eggs are present in the ovaries at birth. Initiated by hormonal changes at puberty, an ovum matures and release approximately once each month for about 40 years. Clearly, females are born with far more ova beyond what could be used. The ovaries also produce the hormones estrogen and progesterone. That just came out wrong, which are responsible for pubertal changes in females, including those in breast, vaginal, and uterus. These hormones also play an important role in a woman's fertility cycle. I think I need to grab me some water, y'all. All right. That just went to Spanish. Okay, sorry, y'all. It went to Spanish. All right, so we're in section 4. Let's talk about breast. Breasts are sexual organs for people of all genders. They can have a role in nourishing offspring for those who choose to breastfeed or chest feed. The size and shape of breasts and the size, color, and shape of the areola and nipples vary greatly. Some nipples protrude inward and are known as inverted nipples. The areola in the area around the nipple that is usually a darker color than the rest of the breast. Breast can be a source of much erotic pleasure for people of all genders who may feel sexually aroused by stimulating the breasts and nipples. However, in spite of cultural focus on the nipple, the tops and bottoms and sides of the breast are actually even more sensitive to touch than touch or the nipple and areola. Women may find it helpful to explore breast touching alone or with a partner to learn more about what feels good to them. So right here, the top is the superior. You got your lateral, you got your areola, the nipple, the inferior is at the bottom, and the medial towards the inner part of your breast. Internally, the breasts are composed of fatty tissue. Female breasts also contain mammary glands or milk ducts, which produce milk during lactation. Breast can be the site of cancer in many women. Breast cancer is the most common type of cancer in the world and one of the most common causes of death among women. Breast cancer is the second leading cancer-related cause of death among women. Lung cancer is the first. About 13% of women will be diagnosed with breast cancer at some point in their lives. For many women, monthly self-exams and regular mammograms are an essential part of healthcare screenings to maintain health. Men also get breast cancer and should check their breasts or chest regularly for lumps and changes. And then here's some additional resources. We'll go to the next slide. There it goes. We're in part 5. Unit 3, menstruation begins with menarche. Sorry if I'm chopping it up, y'all can correct me. Which is the female body signal to begin ovulation each month. This typical
menarche.
Is
menarche.
Is it?
You said it's menarche?
Menarche?
I'll double check it, but yeah, the pronunciation.
Some of these words I haven't seen, or in a while. So I was saying it wrong in my head when I read it the first time. All right, sorry, y'all. So menarche, correct? So menstruation begins with menarche.
Yes, that's correct pronunciation.
Okay, thank you, Miss Deniece. I think that was Miss Deniece. Which is the female body signal to begin ovulation each month. This typical occurs for the first time at an age between 10 and 16. Menstrual fluid is made up of the blood and tissue which had compromised the thickened walls of the uterus. It is passed through the cervix and vagina. This flow is called having a period. The menstrual cycle creates the conditions to allow for fertility and pregnancy to occur. The cycle is less regular when it begins at puberty and as it ends at menopause. A woman's menstrual cycle corresponds to her fertility cycle. The menstrual cycle starts on the first day of a woman's period, day 1 of her cycle. The average cycle lasts 28 days, but can vary from 23 to 35 days. Fluctuating level of hormones cause the changes of the cycle. These hormones include estrogen, progesterone. No, that doesn't sound right. Estrogen. Help me out.
You said it right first time.
Okay. Why does it sound weird? Progesterone. That don't sound right. That's just my own head mixing up words. Follicle stimulating hormones and luteinizing hormone. During the first half of the cycle, the follicle phase, levels of estrogen rise and cause the lining of the uterus to thicken. FH causes an ovum to mature. About halfway through the cycle of surge of LH causes ovulation and ova is released into the fallopian tube. During the second half of the cycle, the luteal phase, the ovum travels through the fallopian tube to the uterus. Progesterone levels rise and help prepare the uterine lining for pregnancy. If an egg is fertilized by sperm, I'm sorry, what? I just got on what page are we on? We're on part 5. Unit 3, part 5. During the first half of the cycle, the follicular phase, levels of estrogen rise and cause the lining of the uterus to thicken. FH causes ovum to mature. About halfway through the cycle, a surge of LH causes ovulation and ova is released into the fallopian tube. During the second half of the cycle, the luteal phase, the ovum travels through the fallopian tube to the uterus. Progesterone levels rise and help prepare the uterine lining for pregnancy. If an egg is fertilized by sperm, usually in the fallopian tube, the fertilized egg implants in the uterine lining and pregnancy begins. When pregnancy does not occur, the egg continues to travel down the fallopian tube. Estrogen and progesterone levels drop. In the thickened uterine lining is shed along with the ovum as menstrual fluid or the next period. To learn more details about women's menstrual cycle, visit Planned Parenthood website or read Our Bodies Ourselves. I'm gonna let you guys read the little menstrual problems cap on your own. Many couples continue to engage in sexual acts during menstruation, where others may abstain. Despite traditional attitudes that associate menstruation with uncleanliness, there is no scientific evidence that sexual intercourse is harmful to either partner during menstruation. There are various reasons that people may abstain, which is religious prohibitions, the messiness of the flow, or lack of comfort with a partner. Researchers Rimple and Baumgartner found that women who engaged in coital sex during menstruation were more likely to also be aroused by a wide variety of sexual activities, indicating that women who engage in menstrual sex are more willing to push the boundaries of what is considered conventional sex. Interestingly, engaging in intercourse during menstruation may actually be helpful for the woman, especially if she experiences excessive cramping. The uterine contractions that occur during an orgasm can relieve cramping by dispelling blood congestion. Masturbating to orgasm during menstruation can have the same effect. Once again, I'll let you guys read this part, the menstruation problems, on your own time. All right, let's talk about men's genitals. So, men have an advantage of having easier access visually to their own genitals, as well as how the genitals of other men look. More opportunities are available to men to see other men through everyday bathroom and locker room interactions. This allows for comparison and confirmation about variations in how genitals can look. Unfortunately, it's sometimes the case that these comparisons result in some men feeling bad about themselves. Culturally, there is a lot of emphasis on valuing a larger penis over a smaller one. In fact, while there is a large amount of variation in size of flaccid penises. Much of the size difference are eliminated when comparing erect penises. Penis size can vary in a bit in both flaccid and erect state, and no size is necessarily better or more or less likely to be more pleasurable to a partner than other sizes. Interestingly, research on women's perspectives of importance of penis size conducted by Stuhlhofer in 2006 found that girth was more perceived as more important than length, and that only 12.8% judged girth and length important, whereas 21.8% of respondents reported that they found both girth and length unimportant. More experienced women tended to judge penis size more important in terms of both girth and length. Overall, it doesn't seem that penis size is universally important to women's satisfaction with a sexual experience. Less is understood about how male partners of men perceive penis size in terms of sexual satisfaction. The male external sex organ includes the penis, the primary sex organ for males. The penis allows both semen and urine to pass from the body through the urethra. Penises vary a great deal in size and appearance. Parts of the penis includes the shaft, the glans or head, which are particularly sensitive for most men, the corona or ridge, which runs around the place where the glands meet the shaft, the foreskin, which covers the glands unless it is removed, and the frenulum, a sensitive area on the underside of the base of the glands. Surgery to remove the foreskin is called circumcision, or is sometimes referred to as male genital cutting. A published in population 2016 report published in Population Health Metrics estimates that about 39% of males have been circumcised worldwide. Looking at individual countries, the estimates of the percentage of males who have been circumcised are 27% Australia, 32% Canada, 45% in South Africa, and 71% in the United States. In Canada and the US, circumcision of male infants is becoming less common and prevalence rates are decreasing. For those who still have their foreskin, those who have not been circumcised, it's necessary to wash under the foreskin regularly. Inside the penis are three spongy cavernous tubes. The two that run along the top are the corpora cavernosa. The corpus spongiosum runs along the underside that surrounds the urethra. When aroused sexually, these tubes become engorged with blood and cause the penis to become erect. The penis does not contain any bones. So here's our glands of the penis, the shaft, the scrotum, and that vein right there is the frenulum. All right. So scrotum. A pouch of skin that is divided into two sections are sacs to hold the testes. The scrotum has two muscles that tighten and relax to move them, and the testicles up and down in an effort to keep testicular temperature constant. Small muscles on each of the spermatic cords move the testicles up and down. When the man is hot, the muscles relax and the scrotum and testes hang lower to cool them. If he is cold, the scrotum becomes tight and pulls the testes closer to the body for warmth. Another muscle in the walls of the scrotum pulls the skin taut to increase warmth or relaxes to create wrinkles and more air to skin surface for cooling, located inside the scrotum. The following are also located outside the body externally. The testicles are gonads or glands that produce reproductive cells. They float loosely in the scrotal sac and produce sperm cells and secrete testosterone. Sperm cells are continually forming in the seminiferous tubules here throughout a man's life. These microscopic tubes are tightly compacted and would stretch to 1,000 feet if it were possible. Monthly testicular self-exams are an important screening that should be started at age 15, checking for swelling, lumps, or changes, and see a physician if any irregularities are detected. Hold on, let me get a sip of water. Does anybody have any questions? I'm kind of going fast.
Deniece, this is Carol.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, you're doing a great job, and I know it's a lot of reading, so I still want to say thank you.
Taking a little sip.
Okay. I was gonna say a good trick for any of the ladies when you went over the part about the penis and its ability to excrete fluids, urine and ejaculate. I always make it easy for some of the ladies to know you can't come and go at the same time. So everyone doesn't have the same familiarity with sexual experiences with male partners. So it's something good to know that they cannot urinate and ejaculate at the same time. So I just make it a joke and just say they can't come and go at the same time.
And then there you go.
Same pertains to the female organs.
Yes.
Yes.
I know.
Because some women don't know the difference. Like, okay, did I pee? Did I squirt? What's happening? You can't do both.
Mm-hmm. All right. And once again, if I'm going fast, I do apologize. I know that I want to make sure that we get to this material. This is, my first time. So next time I got the jokes ready for y'all. All right. So we are still in Unit 3. We're in the last end of Section 6. We're going to talk about the I want to say we didn't talk about this part. The epididymis is attached to the back of each testicle and connects it to the vas deferens. It is where sperm cells mature prior ejaculation. Sperm cells mature in about 70 days, and those that are not ejaculated are safely reabsorbed into his body. Anus, an area rich with nerve endings, as discussed above. The anus and perineum are very sensitive areas that many people enjoy having stimulated. Men of all sexual identities, orientations may enjoy having their anus stimulated and or penetrated. However, as with any other sexual behavior, men's partners should talk with them first to see if they want to explore anal stimulation, rather than just spring it on them. Consent is key for people of all genders. Okay. Get that. So we're in part 7. So the internal body parts include the vas deferens. Am I saying that right? Vas, or is it vas or vas? Deferens. Deferens. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So vas deferens, the tube connecting each epididymis and testicle to the seminal vesicle. Sperm cells travel through the vas deferens. I'm going to slow down on that word. During sexual arousal to prepare for ejaculation. A vasectomy is a permanent form of fertility control in which each of the two vas deferens is severed and sealed to prevent sperm from being ejaculated. The man would still ejaculate semen since the fluid is produced in a seminal vesicle and other glands. Seminal vesicles are glands located at the end of each vas deferens that produce secretions to mix with sperm cells to form about 70% of semen or ejaculate. The whitish fluid contains water, salt, and fructose to nourish and energize the sperm. They are connected to the ejaculatory duct, which directs semen into the urethra. Prostate gland produces a thick fluid that comprises most of the remainder of seminal fluid. This prostatic fluid helps maintain a pH level in the vagina. This is hospitable to sperm viability. The urethra runs through the prostate and connects with the ejaculatory duct here during sexual arousal at a point near ejaculation. The prostate contracts and shuts of the part of the urethra that extends from the bladder so that the urine and semen are not passed at the same time. So as she was saying, you can't come and go at the same time. So as men age, many experience enlargement of the prostate, which can affect urination. Regular screenings for prostate cancer are often recommended for men beginning between the ages of 40 and 50, depending on family history. Men should advise to have annual wellness appointments with their healthcare provider and to ask their healthcare provider any questions they may have about the prostate health. All right, so here's the men's bladder, the rectum. We got the vas, I don't know why I'm mixing up the words. Vas deferens, the penis itself, the urethra, going up to the bladder, the testes, and then we got another vas deferens. I may be saying that word still incorrectly, I do apologize. So our urethra, the men's urethra bowl, a portion of the urethra surrounded by a prostate, where the semen gathers until ejaculatory inevitability. Tongue tie, I'm sorry, ladies. A lot of words. Inevitability, when muscle contractions force the semen through the urethra and ejaculate it out. This is a distinct difference between male and female sexuality. Although men reach a point where they will physically ejaculate no matter what happens, this does not happen with women. Many women find that even when they feel highly aroused or close to orgasm, it is possible that they may suddenly find it difficult to orgasm, perhaps because the sensation starts to feel less pleasurable, or because they feel distracted, unhappy, or turned off for some reason. The Cowper's glands are located on each side of the urethra. Below the prostate gland, they secrete a small amount of fluid that mixes with semen and contribute to pre-ejaculate, sometimes called pre-cum, which is a clear fluid that may not, but not all men emit noticeable amounts of sex during sexual arousal. Some STIs, including HIV, can be transmitted from an infected man from this fluid. Erogenous zones. All right. Erogenous zones are areas of the body that are especially sensitive. Sometimes we refer to the genitals. The body parts that are the most sensitive are that we commonly associated with sexual activity. As the primary erogenous zones, the clitoris and labia, penis and scrotum, the anus, breast, and nipples and mouth are highly saturated with nerve endings. These and other body parts can be pleasurable to touch or stimulate. What is considered to be arousing and pleasurable is highly individualized and experiential. Something that feels good to one person may not to another. A touch that sometimes feels good doesn't always feel good, even to the same person and from the same person. Therefore, communication with a partner is incredibly important for achieving sexual pleasure. It's two young ladies. I'm gonna let you guys read this. This is how step-by-step to Kegel exercise for women. Whatever body parts and spots qualify as primary for anyone, most can agree the rest of the whole body then can make up the secondary erogenous zones. This is at least potentially true if one has an erotophilic or sex positive perspective with regard to an aspect of personal sensuality. Using lotions and oils to massage the skin and lubricate the genitals can greatly enhance sexual intercourse. When using latex condoms to reduce risk, be sure to use only water-based products, as other products may break down the latex, making the product less effective. Kegel exercises may be beneficial for both men and women. Kegels are done by contracting the muscles of the genital area as to stop the flow of urine. Exercise programs that include squeezing and relaxing the muscles repeatedly daily can enhance sexual well-being. Some women describe greater genital sensitivity, and men report increased sensitivity and ejaculatory control, as well as stronger orgasms from performing regular Kegel exercises. Kegel exercises can also help women to have fewer problems with incontinence, meaning losing urine without meaning to, which can be particularly helpful after having a baby. And here's your references. All right, we wrapped up chapter 3. Ladies, you guys have an interactive activity, so I will encourage you during your own time to go through there. Since I already kind of went through here, I already did mine. So the next part is the quiz. Let me know when you guys are ready for the quiz and we can start going over the answers. You guys can unmute yourself, please and thank you.
Ready?
You ready? All right. Number 1, breast cancer is the most common type of cancer in the world. True or false?
True.
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 All right. Number 2, male genitalia circumcision is rare in the United States. True or false?
False.
Number 3, engaging in sexual activity during menstruation can help with management of menstrual cramps. True or false?
True.
Okay. Number 4, the blank is name of the external female genitals, whereas the blank is the name of the internal structure of the female genitals.
Vulva, vagina.
Exactly.
Awesome. Number 5, please match the definition provided below with the correct terms. So the ovaries. Is it A, an area located about 1 to 2 inches along the front vaginal wall? Some women find it highly stimulating when pressure is applied to this area.
It's the female gonads or sex organs that produce reproductive cells.
Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
All right. Number 6.
I'm sorry, I missed that. What did you say?
The female gonads or sex organs that produce reproductive cells.
Okay, thank you.
Number 6, please match the definition provided with the correct term G-spot. So is it A?
The very first
The
one.
first one. Yeah.
Are we all in agreement?
An area located about 1 Yeah.
Right. Number 7, please match the definition provided below. The uterus. Is it
The
A?
very last answer.
Huh?
The very last answer.
The location that fertilization egg would implant and initiate the process of pregnancy?
Correct.
Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Number 8, please match the correct definition for the following terms. Testicles. Is it A?
Gonads or glands that produce reproductive cells.
Gonads or glands? All right. Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
Ladies?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Number 9, the vas deferens. Deferens. Ugh. Is it
Deferens. It's deferens.
I don't know why I can't formulate that word, deferens. Number 9, is it the tube connecting each epidermis and testicle? Okay. Number 10, which of the following is not a common menstrual problem?
Menopause.
All right. Which of the following, ladies, are we all caught up?
Yes.
I don't want to leave no ladies behind. Which of the following is not a tactic to prevent bladder infection or UTI?
Increased use of alcohol or caffeine.
Yes. Which of the following are not a part of the anatomical structure of the penis? The glands, the corona, the perineum, or the frenulum?
The perineum.
The perineum.
The perineum. All right. The portion of the urethra surrounded by the prostate where the semen gathers is called?
Urethral bulb.
Miss Deniece is knocking it out the park, y'all.
She
I already
is.
took the test. I already took the test.
Oh, that's qualify. Okay.
And got 100.
All right. Let's see if some of the other ladies know too. See if y'all was paying attention and all that reading. All right. Erogenous zones may include which of the following? Inner thighs, nipples, anus, or all of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above.
There you go. And last but not least, the place in the female body where the fertilized egg would implant to initiate the process of pregnancy is called the what?
Uterus.
All right, let's submit our answers. It looks like we got it all correct. 15 out of 15. Way to go. Don't forget to make sure that
you
you
ladies are amazing.
right? All that reading. So pardon me if I'm mispronouncing the names. If you know how to enunciate it, please go ahead and correct me. Because if not, I've been saying it wrong in my head the whole time, and I don't mind correction.
Guess what? Don't even worry about it. Just keep reading. Anybody wants to know how to pronounce it correctly, they can hit that microphone on there on Google and ask for and spell it out, and then it'll tell you how to pronounce it.
Thank you.
That part.
Yes.
All right. So ladies, don't forget to do the interactive activity. If you don't do that, it won't when it's time to complete your units, it'll give you a
I'm gonna have to go
issues.
back and read the first part of 3 anyway, because I just got on. I missed half of it. So
Besides all the big words, it's an easy read.
it really is.
Kind of short. All right. So I want to start on time. So I'm probably going to go more in details about certain parts over the other parts. This is sexuality across the lifespan. So starting at birth until, adulthood. So some parts I'm going to kind of reiterate more. I'm going to skip some parts, but I'm going to make sure that we get through it. All right, ladies. So sexuality as a life, I'm going to bypass this part. Sexuality as a lifelong process, using a holistic framework for sexuality encourages lifespan perspective about being sexual. Remember that our sexuality includes many topics that are important during all life stages, including sexual response and skin hunger, feelings of liking and loving others and sharing trust, gender and biological sex, body parts and functioning, and the unfortunate possibility of experiencing sexual exploitation. All people have emotional and physical aspects of sexuality. Each of these parts of our sexuality is influenced and constantly interacting with the environment, which includes the people around us. Sexuality is much more complicated than what happens with people's genitals, excuse me. Our sexuality is a fundamental part of our biological and social heritage. We are structured to address a variety of human needs using both biological and emotional aspects of our sexual selves. This includes not only fulfilling the need to maintain the population through procreation, but also addressing both basic needs like safety and connectedness. Consider that even something as basic as having a sense of what sexual feelings are acceptable and which are unacceptable is an aspect of our sexual socialization, which can endure for a lifetime. Clearly, our sexuality is always a part of who we are. So I already completed this, the activity part of there, so you can go ahead and fill yours out since if you're following along with the book open. So using the broadcast definition.
Excuse me, talk about that activity for a minute. What did you do?
Let me read the first part. So using the broadest definition of sexual being, including all of the topics and circles of sexuality model introduced in unit 2. And so this is kind of going back. Think about each of the stages of development listed below, and the list of 3 sexual issues are ways that sexuality might be experienced during this stage. A sample is listed for each to get you started. So just to kind of go quickly over this, sexuality issues are experienced early childhood. So they're using the topics in the sexual circles of sexuality model, and I'm going to open it this way. It's not going to open that way, just kidding. Oh, the plugin's not so good.
Yeah, and those would be sensuality, intimacy, sexual identity, sexual health, reproduction, and sexualization. Those are the circles.
I like that.
Yes, and it's also depending on the age. So this was for early childhood, birth through 3 years. So what I put was like some of that you said:
It would look
sensuality,
like
sexual
that on me, but I like
identity, and sexualization. But I'm not going to go through all of them because they do go from early childhood, late childhood, and then you can use the circles of sexuality model from Unit 2 to complete that.
Mhm.
So yes,
So
it's
I wanted to say, Deniece, so that no one overthinks this activity. For example, when it has like the age group of
I'll make it bigger too.
from
Birth
birth
to
to
3
3,
years. Mhm.
think about, a baby get its diaper change.
Mhm.
What happens during that process? That could fit into one of those circles of sensuality. So what you're going to do
Right.
is kind of have that diagram up and say, hey, what does the baby experience? The baby gets bathed, the baby gets diaper change, baby gets hugs, kisses. Some people kiss their babies in their mouth. Some people kiss them on their cheeks. All those things are developing that child's way of life. You know what I mean? And we all have different experiences. So as they go through different stages, kindergarten, preschool, all that, they develop an interaction, and that is what makes up that circle.
Right. And such things like skin hunger is important at this particular age, because that all of us need to be touched by others, and especially infants, because they even emphasize the fact that we can suffer from physical and psychological challenges when we aren't touched enough, when we aren't nurtured. It's human contact, skin contact is very important in our developmental years.
And this is kind of just to kind of backdrop or kind of back up what you're saying. I got my degree in social work, and one of the classes that we had to take was a part of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. And one of those needs is like just having our basic needs met. So like she was saying, being touched and being acknowledged and things of that nature. So I just thought I'd show that and share that. So this all kind of ties into one another.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, don't overthink this. I feel like my answers suffice. They have more of the example of a long, like a sentence. I just kind of put a couple of words. So of course, acknowledge that people are sexual from birth until death doesn't necessarily mean that people are having sex in order to be sexual, just by being human. Whether we identify as a man, woman, or as transgender, we exist as a sexual being. By having a body that we and others experience as an entity separate from all others makes us sexual, even though not all of our interactions with others are sexual. Because we exist in relations to others, even if we are isolated from them, we are sexual beings. Humans would not be alive if not for sexual interactions. Excuse me. So childhood sexual development. It surprises many people to learn that from aspects of sexual development are evident in fetuses even before birth. Consider the following examples: the formation of anatomical sex organs and the brain, chromosomes and hormones, and male sexual response. That is, a male have erections even in the womb. Shortly after birth, other signs of sexual development emerge. Research has a long suggested that female babies, for example, exhibit vaginal lubrication early on, just as male babies experience penile erections. These are normal bodily responses that occur to some extent throughout life. And while every life is unique, there are common problems and pleasures at all different points of development. One of the first ways that sexuality is experienced is through gender identification. Sometimes this happens even before a baby is born, when parents learn whether they're having a boy or a girl. They may begin preparing their nursery in different ways. If they expect to have a boy or a girl, it may buy different color clothes or toys. Once a baby is born, people act differently toward babies based on their perception that it is either a boy baby or a girl baby. Throughout the life, there are both subtle and explicit interactions that inform each of us about gender identity and related expectations. Very quickly, it becomes impossible to discern the cause of things in terms of nature versus nurture. We can't always tell if a behavior is caused by being a male or a female, or if it is caused by being treated as a male or a female. From first moments of life, we are being taught to act our gender. During our lifetime, there is a combination of things that impact who and how we are. By age 2 or 3, children know whether they are a boy or a girl, although they do not know that their sex is not likely to change during their lifetime. Children this age are beginning to develop attitudes about their body and perhaps naming their body parts. Both male and female infants experience a physiological response to pleasure. Parents who touch their infant genitals while changing or washing them may notice the capacity of sexual response, and they may see this through seeing the infant smile or express excitement. Kinsey and his colleagues were the first to document the capability of infants to experience sexual response that closely resembles orgasm. They noted that baby boys show behaviors that resemble adult orgasms by as early as 5 months.
Wow.
Baby girls as early as 4 months. Orgasmic experiences are similar to that of adults, except for the absence of ejaculation in boys. This does not occur until after puberty. I'm gonna let you guys read this, how parents should react to children who masturbate. I'm gonna let you guys read that on your own. All right. Young children learn about love and caring through touch and interaction with caregivers. Excuse me. They're especially curious about exploring their own and other bodies. These lessons are reinforced through caregiving interactions, including during toilet training and bathing. There is much interest and confusion about where babies come from at this age. Most childhood sex play with the same sex children and is a very common occurrence. Children often show each other their bodies with games such as, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. This gender sexual activity can include sex games such as playing doctor, or playing house. It becomes a common between the ages of 6 and 10. Through this exploration, children may touch each other's genital or masturbate together. These types of childhood games support the thought that sexual behavior that is learned plays a role in preparation for older adolescents and adult sexual interactions. Children's knowledge of sex varies widely. In a study conducted by Goldman in 1982, they interviewed 813 children in Sweden, Austria, Canada, and the United States and Great Britain. Among 5 years old, the researchers found that Swedish children had more accurate knowledge of genital difference and the proper names for genitals than children from other countries. Did y'all say they? The children from Sweden, I think that's also what's going on. The children from Sweden were also less embarrassed to discuss these issues, and this cultural difference can likely be attributed to the comprehensive sex educated that Swedish children receive beginning in kindergarten. As children approach school age, they gain a greater understanding of how nudity and genital touching are reserved for private times and places. They begin to learn about love and marriage and how people express love and caring to others. They may begin to use sexual slang words and are often joyous about the naughtiness involved with it. It is likely that pre-adolescent age children have infatuation patterns with peers or crushes that are similar to those experienced by teenagers and adults. These types of interactions between children, sometimes called social sexual behaviors, are common among children. Did anybody know that because I heard a wow earlier about the babies having resembling orgasms at 5 months and 4 months old?
I just don't understand why we got to be so fast.
I don't know. It starts before birth. So adolescents.
My question would be, I'm sorry, my question would be, how do they know they're achieving an orgasm?
Miss Carol, do you have an answer for that? How do they know if they're achieving orgasm?
It's their reactions. It's like body, they have body, what do you call it?
How they
gyrations
their body
and things
response.
like that. Yeah, yeah, bodily responses. Their gyration. They say they smile. They, whatever. They, they coo and things like that.
Okay. Okay, then my next question, and forgive me for
So just the
asking, but
response overall. So like it was saying
how,
earlier with the diaper changing.
okay.
Go
So
ahead.
that
I'm
would
sorry.
be how they would achieve the orgasm. I mean, are they just, is it like when they touch themselves, or just the gust of wind, or
Well, they
Well,
don't
different
I'm
necessarily,
things,
just confused.
to my
different things,
understanding.
stimulate your bodily parts. So with a baby, when you especially a male, when you expose the diaper from them, you could be a
Right.
gust of wind, nice little. If you got a fan or something, or air conditioning going on, it might hit his little pee-wee at that
Right,
time, his penis
right.
at that time. That will give him a little surge or something, and you might always see his eyes light up, like, "Ooh, what was that?"
Yeah,
Types
okay,
of things.
okay. Okay.
Now, I don't think they necessarily ejaculate because what it was read, they don't do that
Right. They
until
don't get that
puberty.
until later. Right.
Okay.
So more so than anything, they still that stimulation.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm an elementary teacher, and I often find little boys with their hands in their pockets. But I mean, I was thinking a baby. Okay, elementary little. I've seen 4-year-olds with their hands in their pockets, and I'm like, get your hands out your pockets in
Okay.
public. Save that for private time. But I have seen it as young as like 4, maybe. But I didn't
Yeah.
know that it was going on that early. Okay.
I mean, with babies, everything is exploration, right? They
Right.
find out about their body through the first thing is it goes in their mouth,
Right.
you
Yep.
know, and they want to know about it. And that's how you also can tell a left-handed and right-handed, whether your baby's gonna be left-handed or right-handed, whichever one they really put in their mouth first. If you catch that moment, usually that's the one they explore, because that's what they are utilizing and strongest with. So you can tell
Right.
whether your baby's going to be left-handed or right-handed through that exploration that they have.
Right. So exploration. Okay.
Good questions. Good questions. Like it. Thank you, Miss Deniece.
Mhm.
Yes.
And I also am a retired educator.
Yeah.
Ooh, adult goals, Miss Deniece.
Yeah, I was a
Look,
I
as
was a
they say to
principal.
the military, thank you for your service.
All right. So, adolescent sexual development. Those the teeny boppers. That's the type of folks I work with right now. So change is the key word used to describe sexual issues during adolescence. The period between childhood and adulthood. Puberty is a part of adolescence and begins with the appearance of secondary sex characteristics, such as bodily distribution of hair and fat, development of muscle mass, deepening of the voice. It marks the onset of fertility or the ability to become pregnant or cause pregnancy through ejaculation. Typically, girls are about 2 years ahead of boys in their adolescent development. During adolescence, children are often experience a shift in valuing the input of peers, even over that of their family. Their shift doesn't happen all at once or even in a consistent and ongoing way. Puberty may be rough or it may be experienced as relatively smooth. During adolescence, major growth is happening in 3 important areas: physical changes, brain
Maturation.
okay, I was trying to say
Maturation.
maturity. That's not
Maturation.
right. Yes, maturation
Maturation.
and psychosocial development. Let's begin with the physical changes. Physical changes, there is a tremendous variation in what is a normal body size for adolescents. Height spurts can begin to occur for boys at about age 13 and for girls at around age 11. Girls might begin to get breast buds around age 11, and the average age of beginning menstruation is 12. Boys' testicles and penis grow during ages 12 to
12 to 16.
16, typically, as nocturnal emissions, also called wet dreams. The vital importance of sperm
You
production
skipped one.
huh?
You skipped a sentence, but that's okay.
What sentence did I skip?
After typically, you forgot, you didn't go at this point. You skipped that
With the
right down to,
nocturnal
yeah,
emissions?
you went right down to nocturnal emissions instead of reading the sentence right after. That's all right. Just go ahead.
I think I might have my computer might be short or jumping because I did, but I'll reread it. At this point, boys begin to produce sperm, and most boys experience nocturnal emissions, also called wet dreams. The vital importance of sperm production in menses is that they mark the beginning of fertility. Again, there is great variation. Other physical changes of the adolescents include an increase in body hair, changes in the voice. Boys get broader shoulders and girls get wider hips. Younger adolescents, especially, having concerns about how their bodies compare to others. Sexual response is rapid, and those in late adolescence, early adulthood have a higher sex drive than at other ages. Early ejaculation and lack of orgasm are more common in late adolescence, early adulthood than later in life. Cognitive or brain maturation, adolescents are moving from being limited to concrete thinking, what they can and see and experience directly and in the present, toward an increased ability to be capable of abstract thoughts, or the ability to conceptualize ideas that may not be associated with anything tangible that can be seen, touched, or otherwise related to. This increased ability to think about possibilities in the future is not a continual or seamless shift. A young person can at one point demonstrate abstract thinking capacity and later the same day may not be,
No, go ahead.
May not be able to comprehend an abstract idea conceptually. We now understand that adolescent brain continues that this very rapid and specific development into the age of the early 20s. We also know now that people build new brain cells throughout life. Psychosocial development. Physical and cognitive developments are automatic. That is, with no effort at all on the adolescent's part, this growth will happen automatically. Clearly, there are things that can improve healthy growth and development, but generally speaking, bodies will grow and change and the brain will develop new capacities. Psychosocial development requires interaction with the environment in order to happen. There may be an active participation on the part of the adolescent. This is the aspect of adolescent development that is about the young person's social and emotional transition from the family or community of origin to a more self-defined status as an adult. The developmental tasks that become increasingly important to adolescents include establishing their identity, one that is separate from their family, becoming independent from their family, defining a sense of personal integrity, and practicing new kinds of relationships and their experience with intimacy. Successfully accomplishment of the psychosocial task of adolescence sets the stage for a productive and healthy experience as an adult. All right. And this is adolescent sexual development 2. So overall, adolescence is a time of egocentric thinking and hyper-focus on self in comparison to others, and a perceived cultural idea, feelings of attraction are developing. And people begin to do relationships. Most adolescents engage in sexual behaviors of some kind. Masturbation is very common during adolescence. Research has demonstrated that for males and females, masturbation as an adolescent can enhance adult sexual satisfaction in later years. Coleman 2002, Browning and Lawman 1997. And here's some helpful books for parenting. I'll let you guys look over that at your own time. Although masturbation is a major sexual outlet during adolescence, Boyce and colleagues 2003 found that only 32% of grade 11 girls compared with 63% of grade 11 boys approved of masturbation. Many teen girls have negative attitudes towards masturbation. By age 18, a majority of young people have had intercourse. Mosher, Chadrer, and Jones, 2005, and 20% of those ages 14 to 19 who have never had vaginal intercourse reports having given or received oral sex. In the US, the average age of first penile vaginal intercourse is about 16.5 for males and 17.1 for females. However, not everyone has penile vaginal intercourse, and many people explore with oral sex, partnered masturbation, and other forms of sexual expressions throughout adolescence and adulthood. In the world people react to the physical person they encounter and do not base their interactions on an adolescent cognitive or psychosocial maturity. So if a teen looks 16 at age 13, people would treat this young person as if they were 16. This may create challenges and or opportunities for the teen. Much can be learned by being attentive to how a teen plays up or down this distance between physical and cognitive and psychosocial development. The teen who is uncomfortable with people assuming they are older will often dress and act younger, while the teen who perceives benefit from people believing that they are older will strive to appear even more mature. Unfortunately, too many teens experience these important and life-changing events and experience without the benefit of knowing about what to expect and how to make healthy decisions at all ages. Without access to accurate information about healthy sexuality and risk reduction, young people can experience sexual ignorance that may threaten their sexual well-being well into adulthood. We're on part 6, sexuality in adulthood. All right. Throughout adulthood, we continue to gain new information about sexuality in our bodies, and perhaps to correct misinformation we were given earlier in life. In North America society, our range of sexual choices and lifestyle are much wider than in earlier generations. Our attitudes and beliefs can sometimes change as we experience more and gain insight through exposure to new and diverse people and things. Having access to accurate information is important at all life stages in terms of sexuality. It is critical to have some basic knowledge by the time one reaches adulthood. Selecting partners and mates is a central aspect of adult sexuality, maintaining relationships, both sexual and non-sexual. Relationship issues that might be possible parts of this developmental stage include remaining single, cohabitation, marriage, divorce, having children, loss of a partner, caretaking for parents, and grandparenting. Recent years have seen a sharp increase in the numbers of single young people choosing to remain single. Among people in their early 20s, singlehood is now the most common lifestyle. Several factors such as pursuing education, career goals contribute to this increased proportion of singles. So most of my friends are in their early 20s, late 20s. They choose to be single versus being with the partner. All right. Some adults may choose an alternative sexual lifestyle to the social norm of being monogamous to one partner. Terms like open relationships and I'm so tongue-tied. Let me get some water.
Polyamory.
Hold on, let me get some water. Polyamory is the term most often used to describe consensual non-monogamous relationships. Here are some alternative relationships structures that some adults may find more fulfilling to their sexual selves than traditional monogamy. Open marriage is based on the view that people's needs for intimacy are unlikely to be satisfied through just one relationship. Swinging is a form of consensual sex in which both partners openly share sexual experience with other people. And group marriage is where 3 or more people share an intimate relationship without being legally married. Each member feels committed to at least 2 members.
The Red Table Talk just had a topic on the polyamory because Willow came out with her mother and told her that she was polyamorous. Hello?
I heard that as well. I have to post
I
that
was
video
like, it got
again.
quiet.
Yes. I haven't watched it, but when I pull it up, I'm gonna post it in the sexual health group. That way we could, take a look.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what is polyamorous? Whatever that was.
It's when you are open with other people to have other relationships, and it's not committed. You're not committed, and you have you have loving feelings to multiple people at the same time, and those other people are aware of your feelings towards them, and they they introduce each other to their poly partners.
Got it. Huh.
So is this
Each his
like
own.
sister wives?
Well, they're not married, okay?
Well,
Not
yeah, but I mean,
committed.
like in the same sense,
Right.
where like they all know each other.
They all know each other. They sit down at a table and introduce. Like,
Okay.
they had at the red table, they had one young lady who was dealing with a married man, and he and his wife was introduced to her, and she's okay. And the wife has a lover outside of her husband, and he is frequent with the husband, friendly with the husband, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Oftentimes they're not married, but it's just the fact that it's consensual. So it's
Right.
not like a whole cheat thing. And in their particular relationship, they might have already been married, but decided to open their relationship. But a lot of times it is a lot of single people, but they like, hey, as long as you're aware, this is what I want to do. And everybody's fine with it.
Yeah. And her grandmother, Adrian, which is a classmate of mine, said, I'm just confused. I just look at this like y'all young people just want it as an excuse to have sex with a whole bunch of different people. So it was really funny. So look at it. I mean, it was interesting, not funny, but
I
interesting.
kind of agree with the grandma.
But it was it's nowadays, with these young folks, everybody wants to be a Peter Pan, type syndrome type thing. I don't want to grow up, thing,
Yeah.
and commit and be responsible for my actions. So this is how I'm dealing with you.
Oh. I guess I'm just too jealous for that type.
It's our generation, y'all. That's all.
Okay. I'm too jealous for that. I'm not understanding.
Yeah, they talked about the jealousy factor also. Okay, so let's move on. I'm sorry.
That's fine. So all of these alternative sexual lifestyles require a great deal of communication between members of the relationship. Research has suggested that attitudes toward open relationships are I cannot say that for the life of me. Polyamory is the only difference between monogamy. Satisfaction levels do not significantly differ. Additionally, it is often thought that couples in polyamorous relationships end up being more satisfied simply as a function of their incredible high level of communication skills. Very often, a strong part of our identity is connected to our status in these important sexual relationships, such as how we relate to a partner, spouse, a parent, or daughter. The context of these relationships is directly connected to the other parts of our lives and behaviors during that stage of adulthood. For example, being single while still in college is different than being single after college or when not in college. The college environment is rich with possibilities for meeting people and having access to potential dates. No other environment compares to the college population in terms of large numbers of people who are around the same age with lots of shared interests and free time scheduled together. Another example might include parenthood. Parenting without the benefit of a partner as a single parent is likely to be a different experience than parenting with an actively involved in supportive co-parent that may help us to feel close, are connected, or like we are into this together. This is true for people of other genders too, who are parents. It says my internet is not stable anymore. Accessing preventative health care screening and maintaining healthy behaviors and a positive outlook can lay the foundation for healthy sexuality at all ages during adulthood. Monthly breast and testicular self-exams and other regular health checkups, including Pap and prostate tests for cancer screening, become increasingly important as we age. Given difference in income, employment, and health insurance, not all women and men have equal access to sexual or reproductive health care. As a sexual health promotion professional, you may find it helpful to identify organizations in your community that offer free, low-cost, or sliding scale health services for general health care, gynecologists, breast health care such as mammograms, STI and HIV testing, and other health services. That way, if you interact with people who you feel would benefit from connecting with a doctor, nurse, or a therapist, you will have a name of an organization, a website, or a phone number to give to them. By helping to connect people with sexual health and reproductive care services, you can play an important role as a sexual health promotion professional in your community. And I want to say that's one of the assignments, to find a provider in your area that provides, low cost or sliding scale health services. So depending on what city you're in, what state you are, just keep that in mind. That would be something very beneficial, especially if you are talking to ladies in the future about, sexual health, just having some resources available to them. All right. Sexuality in later years. The fastest growing segment of the population are people age 65 and above. The growing size of this demographic. I'm sorry.
I said that's me.
Oh, the growing size of this demographic may have a profound effect of our views of older people, especially concerning their sexuality. Health permitting, the primary reason elderly people do not have sex more often is that they lack an available partner. Generally speaking, continued sexual expression, which can include a variety of sexual behavior, is encouraged and often enjoyed by people throughout life. Even very old people report still enjoying many aspects of their sexuality, including continued familiarity and comfort with their body, continued sexual interest and response, and a continued need to have relationships, affection, and touch. To some extent, mainstream America culture desexualize people as they age. I don't know why we do that as Americans.
I don't know.
That's a hot mess. Few people like to think of their parents as enjoying sexual pleasure, and so do not think generally about people that age being sexual either. Sexuality among older people is often mocked as perverted or comical, or seen as cute or adorable. Chances are that few people consider their own erotic experience as cute and adorable. This underscores the idea that many prefer this safe, almost childlike description for older people because it minimizes the erotic potential that we view as possible for them. As always, we can learn about our own attitudes about sexuality and aging by raising up images of older people experience the full spectrum of sexual expression and paying attention to our emotional reaction. In the book Clinical Perspectives of Elderly Sexuality by Jennifer Hillman, she emphasizes that the importance of the need for all practitioners to possess an understanding of sexuality, issues and needs of this population, particularly due to society's changes in demographics. Aren't they a cute little couple?
There you go with that cute.
Huh?
There you go with that cute word.
Yeah, I was trying to be funny because they're saying it's cute and adorable.
Right.
No, that's a handsome young man. The interest, desire, and capacity for sex can certainly continue until the end of a person's life. Also, there are benefits to continued sexual interactions throughout life. Sexual expression in later life provides ample opportunity to emphasize sexual behaviors other than intercourse. As we age, sexual response changes and slows down. We know that some difficulty in achieving and maintaining an erection is a very common problem, which all men experience at some point. However, erectile dysfunction becomes more common as men age. Erections may be less firm and take longer to achieve. Women generally experience more difficulty with vaginal lubrication. Some women experience a heightened sense of their sexuality as they travel through their later adult years. Menopause refers to successions of menstrual periods and marks the end of fertility for women. Menopause occurs as a result of physiological changes that can take place between the ages of 30 and 60. Around age 40, for most women, the ovaries begin to slow the production of estrogen. This perimenopausal stage can be marked by irregular menstrual cycles and erratic, heavy, or absent bleeding. Perimenopause can last up to 10 years. By age 50, many women have stopped menstruating and are said to be in menopause. The experience of menopause and perimenopause varies greatly from woman to woman. For some, it is rather an uneventful period. Others may experience symptoms that can include hot flashes, thinning of the vaginal walls and less lubrication, headaches, memory loss, and decreased ability to concentrate. Choosing whether or not to use hormones therapy to treat symptoms of menopause is one of the most complicated health decisions a woman may face. Many women feel relieved that they no longer have to worry about pregnancy, contraception, and menstruation, and may experience a new sense of sexual freedom. Others may grieve the loss of their fertility, even if they had chosen years earlier to no longer become pregnant or have any more children, or any at all. It's a change in life. It isn't entirely clear how menopause impacts a woman's sexuality. Thought a few things are generally known. Menopause is linked with decreased vaginal lubrication and thus more pain during sex. Vaginal moisturizers can be critical to helping women feel greater vaginal comfort as well as greater pleasure during sex. Vaginal lubricants may also be helpful, but are often needed in addition to vaginal moisturizer, not as a replacement for them. Age-related health problems may have a bigger effect on women's sexuality than does menopause itself. Subjective sexual arousal, whether a woman feels aroused or not, and perception of genital arousal do not differ between pre- and post-menopausal women. Erotic female-oriented materials can elicit high levels of subjective and genital arousal in all women, regardless of their age or menopausal status. Aging and sexuality are closely linked to individual health and medical conditions that can impact how sexuality is experienced. In fact, overall health may have the biggest impact on sexual function in later life. The poor health of a partner may also limit the sexual interactions for the other. Additionally, decreased sexual desire and arousal can often be the side effects from some medications that are more common later in life. A willingness to experiment with variations for sexual expression includes perhaps oral sex, masturbation, fantasy, and sexual enhancement products can help sexual satisfaction levels high throughout life. In your work as a sexual health profession, you will likely have ample opportunities to reassure women and men of all ages of the value and worth of their experience. You will be in a position to reassure people that it is normal to desire sexual intimacy and expression throughout their lives, and not just when they are very young or if they have firm bodies. Sexual intimacy may be treasured by women and men regardless of their age, body size, or the number of wrinkles on their forehead. Although there are certainly many body-related changes that can affect the ease with which people experience their sexuality, there are still many possibilities for connection and enjoyment. And there was like a changes in sexual arousal often associated with aging. So if you go back through, just take time and read that. All right. Oh, look, you guys, with 20 minutes to spare, we got to our references. So you guys, like I said earlier, there will be interactive activity. Make sure that you go back and complete that. You need to complete that in order to get credit for finishing the lesson. All right, so you guys can unmute. Let me do this so I can see everybody's beautiful face. Miss Carol's on the move. She went from a car to somewhere else. All right, so for question number 1. In order for people to be considered sexual, they usually have to be having sex. True or false? You guys can unmute.
False.
All right. By age 18, most people have not had intercourse. True or false?
False.
All right. Number 3, The way American cultures tend to view sexuality among older adults tends to minimize their sexuality or erotic potential. True or false?
True.
True.
Yeah. Number 4. Excuse me. Orgasmic experiences are the same for male infants as they are for male adults. True or false?
False.
That is correct. Young male infants do not ejaculate.
Ejaculate. Right.
Menstruation, nocturnal emissions, and the shift from concrete thinking to abstract thinking categorize which stage of development? Pre-adolescence, adolescent, post-adolescence, or adulthood?
Adolescence.
Adolescence is correct.
All right, number 6. The adolescent psychosocial development is characterized by the adolescent establishing his or her identity separate from the family, becoming dependent on their family, disengaged from relations with peers to avoid intimacy, or all of the above characterize adolescent psychosocial development.
All the above.
The first one.
Oh, the first one.
It's the first one.
Establishing his or her identity would be that one.
Mhm.
It's about them.
Yeah. Yes, I think as a young adolescent, they do not want to depend on their family anymore.
I was gonna say they don't want to depend on their family until they're like out of adolescence, and then they're like, "Oh, you were right."
Mhm. That usually happens around,
Age 20, 21.
age 20.
That's what I tell them. When they turn 12, I said, okay, I'll leave them alone. When they get ready to turn 13, that's teenage years that they get ready. I said, come visit me again when you turn 21. Because
When
they're
they have
crazy.
to do their own bills and stuff.
Yeah, they crazy all in between that.
All right, number 7. At what age do female babies begin to exhibit vaginal lubrication? 6 months, 1 year, shortly after birth, or 2 years?
Shortly after birth.
Yep.
Unfortunately, no, just kidding.
In a way, yeah.
No, we don't be ready as parents to see that, but it's part of the development.
Yes. When a baby is born and we begin to treat the child as a boy or girl by buying them gender-specific clothing, this is an example of gender socialization, sex roles, sexualization, or sexual revolution.
Gender socialization.
Socialization.
Yes. Number 9. Masturbation in children tends to start between
6 and 12 months.
Yep.
If you didn't know before, now you know.
Yep. Number 10. Sex games like Show Me Yours and Play Doctor become more common between the ages of 2 and 3, 5 and 8, 6 and 10, 12 and under.
6 and 10.
All right. Same gender sexual play in childhood is a sign that a child will grow up gay or lesbian. Is more common in boys than in girls. Is more common in girls than in boys. Does not predict adult sexual orientation.
It doesn't predict orientation.
All right. Number 12. Most often children have a sense of whether they're a boy or girl by the age of
1 and 2.
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
It's 2 or 3. Number 13. What is the reason that Swedish children tend to have more accurate knowledge of genital differences and proper names for genitals than children of other countries?
Comprehensive sex education.
Comprehensive sex education since kindergarten.
Yes. Number 14. What is polyamory?
A term used to describe non-monogamous
relationship.
Yep. Ooh, it's a little choppy over there. All right. Last but not least, hot flashes, thinning of the vaginal walls, less lubrication, headaches, memory loss, and decreased ability to concentrate are all symptoms of which could categorize
perimenopause and menopause.
Yes. All right. Drum roll, please. All right. And it looks like boys and girls, 15 out of 15. We got 100%.
Yep.
All right. And we did still end at a good time. I want to thank you. Sorry, what? Hi. I need to see some of y'all faces. So thank you guys for this is my first adventure of doing this, and I appreciate you guys' engagement, interaction, and completing this with me. This was fun. Are you on? Oh, you're on twice. I see. I was like, why is there two Tiffany's? Okay, you're on. Okay. So thank you all so much. We have a follow-up class on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you guys then. Other than that, bye.
Later. Thank you so much, sweetie.
Thank you.
Ladies, I'll post in our chat or maybe in the off-topic chat. I have a special guest that's going to do a presentation on like the erogenous zones and a lot of really good insight on how color, essential oils, all these different things can impact your experience. And so I'll share the link to that, but I think you all would really enjoy the session.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Have a nice
Have
Sunday.
a great day. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Bye.